Okay, so good day everyone. So this is the third video tutorial for our subject, and today we're going to discuss Chapter 3, Introduction to Business Taxation. So kung babalikan natin yung mga discuss na natin, Chapter 1, that is Introduction to Consumption Taxes, wherein we have discussed na under consumption taxes, we have importation and we have um, yung sales or yung purchases from resident sellers. So sa chapter 2, we have already discussed yung consumption taxes on importation. So that is VAT on importation and the final withholding VAT. We also discussed that final withholding VAT is applicable for services and VAT on importation is applicable for importation of goods. So dito naman, business taxation na. So, nature of business taxes, we have 4 given in here. Una is a relative consumption tax. Bakit? Dahil it is only imposed if the seller is engaged in business. Otherwise, there's no business tax to be imposed kapag yung seller ng service or ng goods ay hindi naman engaged sa business. Pangalawa, it is an indirect tax, because the statutory taxpayer is different from the economic taxpayer. So, discuss natin yun kung bakit mayroon tayong tinatawag na statutory and economic taxpayer. We also have privilege tax as one of the nature of business tax, because yun nga, sino ba yung mga madalas lang humingi or mag-spend or madalas mag-consume? Siyempre, yung mga pamilya. And those are considered privileged members of the society. And number 4, it is a national tax simply because it is imposed by the national government. We have 3 types of business taxes. We have the percentage tax, the value-added tax, and the excise tax. Okay, for the comparison of those 3 business taxes, we have a table in here. So, as to the timing of, or as to point of difference for VAT, and it's for timing of imposition, so saka ka lang sisingilan ng VAT kapag mayroong sila nangyari. Same true with percentage tax. And yung difference lang is doon sa excise tax, because excise tax is payable kapag nagkaroon na ng production or importation ng excisable products. Okay, yung ginamit ata natin na example dito before is yung sa alak, di ba? Yung brown na papel na nasa takip ng alak kapag bibili kayo ng alak. As to nature, yung VAT, it is a primary tax together with the percentage tax, and excise tax is additional tax. Ito sinasabing primary because business taxpayers can only pay one of these 2 primary taxes. It may either be VAT ang binabayaran or percentage tax plus excise tax kapag excisable yung binibenta. Pangatlo is subject businesses. So for VAT and percentage tax, generally lahat ng business. Okay, excisable products. Sa excise tax naman, kapag excisable lang yung products na i-import or kaya pinoproduce. Taxpayers, as to VAT and percentage tax, sabi nga natin, relative, di ba? Relative siya, kaya businesses lang ang pwedeng magbayad ng itong dalawang ito. Samantalang, ang excise tax, okay? Wala siyang pakialam kung business or non-business yung nag-import or nag-produce ng excisable products. Last 2 portions ng table is usual taxpayers. For VAT, big businesses, kasi meron tayong threshold dito. Mamaya, i-discuss natin yun. And percentage taxpayers is small businesses. For excise tax naman, whether big or small, for as long as excisable na yung products or service, excisable. Accounting treatment for VAT is considered as liability. Kasi yung value-added tax, okay, yung i-discuss natin mamaya kasi ito partially lang kasi may separate na chapter for value-added tax. It is considered liability daw. Malalaman natin yan mamaya partially And for percentage tax, it is considered an expense kasi kapag pine-present ito sa um, statement of financial performance, it is presented as an expense. Ito naman pine-present as liability, as VAT payable. Tapos ito, it may either be an asset. Asset kapag it will form part of the cost of asset. Liability naman kung i-consider mo siya as liability at the end of the accounting period. Okay. Procedures of business taxation. Una, okay, di ba sabi nga natin, business tax is relative. Relative to what? Relative to whether the seller is engaged in business or not. If the seller is engaged in business, then, syempre, kailangan niya magbayad ng business tax. Di ba? Kapag hindi naman, hindi siya magbabayad. Okay, pangalawa, identification of the taxable person, whether the taxpayer is an individual or a juridical person. Individual kapag tao, o proprietorship business, including branches of individual taxpayers. Ito naman, juridical, ito yung mga corporate taxpayers natin. Okay, so yung mga entities ito that are considered to possess a juridical personality. Okay, mga artificial persons in the eyes of taxation law and in the eyes of law. Pangatlo is determine the tax type. Okay? Kapag seller of goods, syempre, sales ang tawag natin doon. Kapag seller of services naman, receipts ang tawag natin doon. Classify the sales or receipts whether they are, una, whether they are exempt, or pangalawa, kung subject siya specifically to a certain percentage tax. Pangatlo, kapag vatable sales or receipts. So, simple lang naman yung pangatlo. Kapag hindi na qualify sa letter A or letter B, that will automatically fall under letter C. Panglima, determine taxpayer registration type. So, dalawa lang naman ang registration type ng taxpayer sa business taxation. VAT registered and non-VAT registered taxpayer. Okay? VAT registered taxpayer, syempre magbabayad ka ng VAT kapag vatable yung sales or receipt. Kapag non-VAT naman, okay, generally 3% ang percentage tax niyan. However, kapag nag-exceed yung sales or receipts ng 3 million, that person is mandatorily mandatory na change from non-VAT taxpayer, non-VAT registered taxpayer into VAT registered taxpayer. Kapag hindi naman nag-exceed ang 3 million na threshold, so that taxpayer can continue to pay the 3% general percentage tax based on vatable sales or receipts. Okay, explain natin mamaya dito bakit 3% general percentage tax on vatable sales. Diba parang nakakalito? Okay, actually ito parang ano lang siya, this table in here, parang summary lang siya. So extensively discuss natin yan mamaya, especially dun sa separate chapters for percentage tax and value-added tax. Number 6, determine if the goods or service offered is excisable. So, di ba, sabi natin kanina, primary tax tong VAT at saka yung percentage tax. Then ito, additional ito. Okay, yung excise tax. Okay, next page. Okay. So, since sinabi natin kanina that payment of business tax is relative, whether the seller is engaged in business or not, ano ba kasi ang business? Okay? So, sabi niya dito, ang business daw, it refers to a habitual engagement in commercial activity involving sale of goods or services for profit. So, based on that definition, you can come up with these two elements of business. Una, there is habitual engagement, and pangalawa, there is commercial activity. Simple lang naman ang sinasabi ng habitual engagement. Kapag mayroong regularity ng transactions, ibig sabihin kapag nangyayari on a day-to-day basis yung transaction ng pagbebenta, okay, that those transactions are considered exercise of business. Those are considered practice of business. Diba? Pangalawa naman, yung sinabi niyang commercial activity. Simple lang naman ang ibig sabihin ng commercial activity. Okay, ibig sabihin, okay, yung activity, it was undertaken dahil gustong magkaroon ng profit kung sino man yung nagkakandak ng activity na yun. Doon pala sa number 1, doon sa habitual engagement, dito pumapasok yung privilege stores. Okay? These are most commonly known as tiyangge. O, yung sabi niya dito, yung mga tiyangge daw na karaniwan ay lumalabas lang kapag lumalabas lang sila or nagbebenta lang sila kapag merong festivities, merong events, for example, sa school, o kaya merong event sa isang locality. Okay? They are not considered engaged in business provided that, okay, sabi niya dito, provided that they will not sell for a cumulative period of 15 days. Kasi kapag nag-exit na sila dyan, they will be considered as regular taxpayers. Okay? Pero, hindi dito kasali yung mga existing business na at nagtatayo lang ng tiyangge kapag merong pistahan. For example, Baker's Percent. Diba? Si Baker's Percent, that is a regular taxpayer. Paano kung pumunta siya, for example, sa isang bayan, merong event at nagtayo siya doon ng isang stall niya. So, makakwalify ba siya dito sa privilege store? The answer is no. Okay? Taxable pa rin siya doon sa sales niya nung nagtayo siya ng stall sa isang locality na merong event. Okay? Pangalawa, exception to the regularity rule. Kasi sabi natin kanina, habitual engagement is synonymous to regularity transaction. Okay? Sabi niya dito, the sales of services by non-resident persons, ibig sabihin foreigners, are presumed made in course of business without regard as to whether the sale is regular or isolated. So, ang binabanggit niya dito sa first sentence niya, ano ito class? Importation ito on the point of view of the buyer. Okay? So, wala daw pakialam ang taxation law whether yung foreigner na nagbenta sa isang resident na buyer ay engaged sa business or hindi. Okay, laging ina-assume na engaged sa business para masingilan ng business tax. Na-discuss natin actually sa chapter 2. O, ito nga sinabi niya. Kanina nabanggit na natin to, commercial activity. Ibig sabihin, activities are conducted with the intention to gain profit. Okay? Pero, ganda ng sinabi niya dito. However, the actual existence of profit during a period is not a precondition to business taxation. So, hindi pwedeng irason ng mga business taxpayers natin later on that wala naman silang profit. That is why hindi sila magbabayad ng business tax. Okay? Sa business taxation class, for as long as nagkaroon ng sale transaction, okay, meron na kaagad business tax yun. Okay, hindi nila tinitignan kung merong profit. Dahil ang profit, that is only a condition para makasingil ang gobyerno ng income tax. Iba ang income tax sa business tax. Okay? The following are not businesses daw. Ito, 5. Sa inyo na lang yan. Siyempre, number 1, government agencies. Diba? Alangan naman na singilin ng government ang sarili niyang ahensya. Mga NGOs, employment. Kapag employed ka, ang binabayaran mo lang na tax dyan, income tax. Directorship in a corporation, hindi rin. And business for mere subsistence. Tignan natin yung item number 5. Ito yon. Kung titignan natin yung business principally for subsistence, present dito yung dalawang element ng business. Una, merong habitual engagement. Pangalawa, merong commercial activity dahil nagbebenta for profit. However, okay, kapag daw yung business ay hindi naman nakakapag-record ng sales or receipts ng more than 100,000 per year, considered daw yan as business principally for subsistence. Okay, kapag ganyan daw, hindi na sinisingilan ng business tax yan. Okay? Another one, marginal income earners. So, sino ang nire-refer nito? Sabi niya, it refers to individuals not deriving compensation income under employer-employee relationship but who are self-employed deriving gross sales or receipts not exceeding 100K in any 12-month period. So ito, marginal income earners, sila yung may-ari ng businesses principally for subsistence. Okay, sabi niya kasi dito, not deriving compensation. Ibig sabihin, wala silang amo. Okay, but they are self-employed and they do derive sales and receipts that do not exceed 100,000 in any 12-month period. Kapag ganyan, hindi na sinisingilan ng tax yan. Example, okay, example ng marginal income earners, mga yan, farmers and fishermen. Pero subsistential, kasi meron tayong farmers na hektarya ang sinasaka or fishermen na maraming fishing boats. Ay, hindi naman yun kasali. Small sari-sari stores and so on and so forth. Okay? Okay, tapos dito may exclusion, daw kasali ang licensed professionals. For example, meron tayong engineer, may business siya, tapos sasabihin niya, hindi naman nag-exceed ng 100,000, hindi ako magbabayad ng business tax. Hindi niya pwedeng irasan yun. So in the very first part, licensed professional siya. So disqualified na kaagad siya doon. Okay? Yung marginal income earners natin, yung exemption nila up to business tax lang class. Okay? They're still subject to income tax. Pero effectively, wala silang income tax yan nababayaran. Wala silang income tax due. Kasi kung, especially for those taken income tax already, diba? Kapag ang income mo ay hanggang 250,000 lang, 250,000 below, wala ang tax doon. Diba? Kung 100,000, receipts pa lang yun, gross receipts, hindi mo po net income yun, mas lalong hindi. Okay, mas lalong hindi tataksan. Okay, business taxpayers. Ito yung mga example ng business taxpayers and also the rules. So, basahin nyo na lang ito. So, we'll go to next page. Okay. For examples lang yan, basahin nyo na lang. Tapos ito, income tax exemption does not equate to business tax exemption. And vice versa to, and vice versa. So, hindi porket yung person ay exempt sa income tax, ay automatically exempt na rin siya sa business tax and vice versa. Okay? Ito yung example niya, yung mga GPP natin, joint ventures, local water districts. Ito, BMDE, enterprise. Exempt kasi yung mga ito sa income tax. Pero hindi sila exempt sa business tax. Okay. Types of business taxpayers. We only have two. We have the VAT taxpayers and non-VAT taxpayers. Pag VAT registered person ka or taxpayer, automatically you're going to pay 12% VAT, while non-VAT taxpayer is 3% general percentage tax. Sinabi niya ditong general percentage tax kasi napakaraming rate ng percentage tax. It ranges from 0.6 to 3%. Okay? Business activities. Okay? It may either be seller ka ng goods or properties or seller ka ng services or lease of properties. So, ito yung mga example niya. Basahin nyo na lang ito. Hindi na natin isa-isahin. Okay? Okay. So, basis of business tax per type of activity. Kapag nagbebenta ka ng goods at ng properties, okay, kukumpitin yung business tax mo based on your gross selling price. Kapag nagbebenta ka naman ng services or nagpapalis ka ng properties, gross receipts. Okay, gross selling price. Ano ba yung inclusions ng gross selling price? Sabi niya, it refers to the total amount of money or its equivalent which the purchaser pays or is obligated to pay to the seller in consideration of the sale, barter or exchange of goods or properties. With adjustments for, yun, mayroon tayong mga allowable deductions. Okay? Discounts, provided that the discount is already determined at the point of sale. And sales and returns and allowances, provided that there was a proper credit or refund done. Okay? Illustration, ito. Okay? Yung business tax, it applies whether the sale is made on cash or on credit. So, kung papansinin nyo, yung computation ng gross selling price dito is cash sales plus account sales plus installment sales. Okay, less yung returns and allowances. Okay? Hindi ito sinali sa computation. Quota discounts. Quota discounts kasi, it is dependent upon the happening of a future event. So, hindi siya binigay at the point of sale. Okay? Yan lang yun. Then, next page. Gross receipts naman. Pareho lang. Okay? Yun nga lang, dito, okay, sabi niya, considered daw as part of gross receipt yung advance payments. For example, nag-advance payment sa client para sa service na hindi pa na-render. Question, taxable ba siya under business taxation? The answer is yes. Okay, pero kapag income taxation ang tatanungin mo, no. At kung accounting ang tatanungin mo, no. But in business taxation, taxable yun. Okay, kaya kung titignan natin yung illustration, ito, cash collection for services done, 400. Cash collection for services not yet started, 100. Diba? Kasali siya. Okay. So, dito kasi sa gross receipts, provided na for as long as meron kang na-receive na pera that is related to the conduct of business, taxable yun. Wala siyang pakialam kung na-render mo na yung service or hindi. Okay. Constructive receipt. Okay. Constructive receipt, ibig sabihin, binayaran na ng client or ng buyer, si seller, pero hindi nagkaroon ng actual na abutan ng pera. Okay, example nito, dineposito sa account ni seller, yung bayad. O, constructive receipt yun. Kasi hindi naman dumaan sa kamay niya. Pangalawa, issuance by the debtor of a notice to offset. For example, si seller, meron siyang utang kay buyer. Si buyer naman, meron siyang pinagawa kay seller. So si buyer, ang sabi niya, sige, offset na natin dun sa utang mo sa akin. Ang tawag dun, constructive receipt. Okay, hindi nagkaroon ng abutan ng pera, pero nagkaroon ng bayad dun. Tawag dun, constructive receipt. Offset, ito, nasa ano to obligation actually, obligations and contracts. Diba? Nandun sa kung paano ma-fulfill lang isang obligation, how to extinguish an obligation. Diba? Unang-una, kapag nagkaroon ng offset, application of payment, or hindi naman kaya kapag nagawa yung obligation ng kontrata. Pangatlo, transfer of amounts retained by the payer to the account of the contractor. So, halos pareho lang tong number 3 dun sa number 1. Ito naman, these are not considered as part of gross receipts, agency monies. Parang ito, agency monies, ano ito? Reimbursement ito. Okay, reimbursements ito. Then, insurance proceeds on damaged assets. Kapag merong insurance policy, si seller, nasira yung isang sasakyan niya, tapos binayaran ng insurance policy, is not considered as part of gross receipts. Simply because, okay, insurance proceeds on damaged assets does not happen regularly. And it is not a part of the regular conduct of business. Ganon din yung receipt of loan. Di ba? Receipt of cash kasi nag-apply ng loan. Okay. Next, withholding taxes. Part ba ng gross receipt ang withholding taxes? Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, kasi yung titignan natin dito, okay, exact illustration na. Illustration niya. A lessor received 9,500 rentals from AELC, net of 5% withholding tax evidenced by BIR form 2307. Okay, actually ito na BIR form, ginagamit talaga in reality and in actual practice. At yung pag-withhold ni lessor nung nangungupa, okay? At pag-withhold ni lessee, okay, ng property sa isang lessor ay dapat talaga nagkakaroon ng withholding yan. Okay, actually, strict ang BIR dito. Kahit pa dun sa mga nangungupa ng bahay, ganun, ginagawa to. Okay? Part ba yung 500 na natanggal? The answer is yes. So, for example, kung si lessor ay isang non-VAT registered taxpayer at magko-compute ka ng percentage tax, yung 10,000 ang ko-computean mo ng percentage tax and not the net amount na 9,500. Anong mangyayari dun sa 500 or sa 5% na binawas? Okay, pwede mo siyang i-claim as tax credit. Ibabawas doon sa tax due. Okay, business with mixed activities. Pag seller of goods, di ba? Pag sale of goods or properties, separate ang computation nito. Okay, then yung sale of services, separate din ang computation. Yun lang yun, business with mixed activities. Okay, then types of sales and receipts. Una, we have the exempt. Then, receipts is specifically subject to percentage tax. Ito, meron siyang mnemonic na ginawa dito. Then, vatable sales and receipts. Ito, partially, na-discuss natin ito eh. Okay, yung agricultural and marine products. Kasi ito sa importation to, ganun din siya sa sale. Okay, sale within Philippines, for example. Tapos yung trade and contracts, then yung casual sales. Ito, casual, ibig sabihin, isolated case. For example, ako, na hindi naman ako regular na nagbebenta ng sasakyan, nagbenta ako ng sasakyan or ng motor, hindi yun subject sa business tax dahil hindi naman ako engaged sa business ng pagbebenta ng sasakyan at motor. Okay, then export sales of non-VAT registered persons. Tandaan nyo to Okay? Kapag ang nag-export ay isang non-VAT registered person, ang tawag doon, exempt sale. Kapag ang nag-export ay isang VAT registered person, ang tawag doon, vatable sale, pero at 0%. Ulitin natin. Number 4. Kapag ang nag-export ng produkto ay isang non-VAT registered person, ang tawag doon, exempt sale. Pero kapag ang nag-export ay isang VAT registered person, ang tawag doon, vatable sales, but vatable at 0%. Or yung tinatawag natin na zero-rated sales. Okay, sabi niya dito, chapter 4. Next chapter, i-discuss natin extensively. Then ito, receipts from services specifically subject to percentage tax. Okay, ito yung BCAP flow kanina. So, ayun na lang to. I'm going to send the itong mga pictures na pala to, dapat sinisend ko sa inyo. So, isisend ko ito sa inyo later. Okay, yun yung mnemonics niya. Mali pala ako, sabi ko kanina 3%. So, it ranges from 0.6 to 30% pala. Okay, yun yung percentage tax. Vatable sales or receipts, kailan daw natin na masasabi na vatable ang isang sales or receipts? Kapag hindi siya subject specifically to percentage tax at hindi siya exempt, okay, vatable siya. Okay. Once ba na vatable ang sales or receipts, automatically subject sa value-added tax? The answer is no. Okay. It will only be subjected to value-added tax if the taxpayer is a VAT taxpayer. However, kapag non-VAT taxpayer, 3% general percentage tax. Okay. Types of percentage tax. Specific percentage tax, yun yung nasa BCAP flow. Pangalawa, general percentage tax, yun yung 3%. Mandatory registration as VAT taxpayer. Ito yung mga conditions na kailangan mag-meet para maging mandatory ang registration as VAT taxpayer ng isang business taxpayer. Una, dapat yung sales or receipts niya ay mag-exceed ng 3 million for the past 12 months. Or hindi naman kaya, there are reasonable grounds to believe that his gross sales or receipts for the next 12 months will exceed 3 million. So possible ba ito? Actually, this is very much possible. For example, let's take into consideration si Ditotel, yung bagong telco company, telecommunications company. Si Ditotel, okay, automatic VAT taxpayer yun. Kasi no questions asked, siguradong mag-exit ng 3 million ang receipts niya and sales niya. Receipts and sales. Okay? Bakit receipts and sales? Kasi magbebenta siya ng magbebenta siya ng goods, at the same time magbebenta siya ng services. Okay? Kaya hindi siya i-allow na mag-register as non-VAT taxpayer. Automatic VAT taxpayer yun. Next page. Okay, let's move to page 17. Sa dulo. Okay. Meron tayong tinatawag na general threshold na 3 million. So, ibig sabihin, kapag nag-exceed ang sales or receipts ng isang taxpayer ng 3 million, automatic yan na dapat mag-register siya as VAT taxpayer. Mandatory yon. Okay? Except mga franchise grantees ng radio or television. Okay? Dahil yung radio or television franchise grantees, meron silang special threshold na 10 million. Okay? Saka lang sila pwedeng maging mandatory VAT taxpayer kapag pag nag-exceed ang receipts nila ng 10 million. Okay. Optional VAT registration, pwede naman. Hindi ka mandatorily hindi ka minamando na mag-register as VAT taxpayer, pero trip mo lang. Okay. Tawag doon, optional VAT registration. Pwede naman yun. However, yung registration mo will be irrevocable for 3 years. And that 3-year period is considered tinatawag natin din is lock-in period. Okay. However, kapag franchise grantee ka ng radio or television, once nag-register ka sa VAT taxpayer, perpetually irrevocable yun. Types of VAT taxpayer, meron tayong dalawa. VAT registered, ibig sabihin, yung COR nila or Certificate of Registration nila, nakalagay dun, VAT taxpayer na sila. Yung mga VAT registrable. VAT registrable, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga taxpayer na nag-exceed na ng threshold but they did not register yet as VAT taxpayer. Ang kaibahan nitong dalawa, okay, dito, pwede silang mag-claim ng input VAT. Ito, hindi sila pwedeng mag-claim ng input VAT. Okay, so parang penalty sa kanila yun. So that is why, as soon as possible, kapag registrable taxpayer ka, mag-register ka na as VAT taxpayer. Ito yung example niya. Pag VAT registered, merong benefit ng input VAT. Kapag VAT registrable, wala. Ano bang effect ng input VAT sa VAT due? Okay, binabawasan niya actually. Okay. Difference of the concept of receipts and sales between VAT and non-VAT. Okay, let's see this example. Ang tanong dito, magkano daw ang mali to? It should have been 150. Okay? Hindi dapat 150 to. Kasi 150 ito. Okay? Yung non-VAT taxpayer daw, binigyan niya ng invoice si client for 150,000. Si client naman, nag-withheld siya ng 10% na CWT. Ang neto lang na mare-receive ni taxpayer is 135. Question is, magkano ang i-report niya as gross receipt? The answer is 150 pa rin. Okay, 150, bakit? Kasi yun yung siningil niya. Yun yung binil niya doon sa client. That is for non-VAT taxpayer. However, paano kapag VAT taxpayer? Okay? Ganito. Kapag VAT taxpayer ka kasi, the amount billed to the customer client on the sale of goods or services includes the sales or gross receipts plus 12% output VAT. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, ihiwalay mo pa yung 12% na output VAT. For example, same example kanina. Doon sa 150 na sinisingil ni taxpayer kay client, okay, ang nakalagay dyan is 100% gross receipts or gross sales plus 12% output VAT. So kung bibigyan natin ito ng percentage rate that it represents, it represents actually 112%. Okay? So paano ba natin makuha ang 100%? Isang figure that is more than 100%. Simple lang. You divide it by the percentage rate that it 3%. So, syempre, pag i-divide mo to, that is 150,000 divided by 1.12. Okay? 1.12. So, that is equivalent to 112%. Ang makukuha mo dyan, 133,929. This 133,929, that is 100%. At ang 100%, it represents already your gross receipts or your gross sales. Kung kukunin mo yung 12% nito, ito siya. Ang tawag natin dito, 16,071, that is the output fund. I-add mo yung dalawa, 150,000, yan na yung invoice price. E paano naman kapag magko-compute ng 10% na creditable withholding tax? Saan mo kukumpute yung 10%? Doon ba sa 150? Answer is no. Doon sa 133. Kaya kung titignan mo dito, ito siya. Okay, 133 less 10% niyan. Okay? Ito yung net professional fees plus yung 12% na output VAT. And this 12% again is based on this figure. Ito, 12% nito. So, ang total makokolek lang is 136,607. Tapos tinanong ka, magkano ang gross receipts? Ito. Magkano ang cash collected? Ito. Magkano output VAT? Yan. Okay, so ganun lang. Kapag may missing na figures dito, for example, i-workback mo lang. I-plot mo lang na ganito, yung format niya. Saka ka na mag-work. Okay, business tax accounting period. General rule, kung ano ang taxable accounting period na ginagamit ng isang taxpayer sa income taxation, business taxation accounting period will follow. Okay, so for example, sa individuals kasi, they are only allowed to use calendar period. So, ibig sabihin, yung taxation period nila starts from January 1 and ends December 31. So, ganun din ang business tax accounting period nila. However, kapag corporate naman yung taxpayer, pwede kasi silang gumamit ng fiscal period. It will follow. Okay? However, additional, corporate taxpayers may opt for either calendar or fiscal year accounting period. Okay, yun yung kaibahan. Business tax reporting. Kapag taxpayer, ito yung mga ginagamit. For monthly return of VAT, 2550M. At kapag quarterly naman, 2550Q. M represents monthly, Q is for quarterly. Kapag non-VAT taxpayer ka, hindi mo na kailangan submit or mag-file ng monthly return or percentage tax. Quarterly lang. Dati meron kasi tapos tinanggal na. Ito, quarterly na lang. Next page. Okay, tapos side note lang, starting January 1, 2023, yung VAT magiging quarterly na lang din siya. Mawawala na to. Okay, mawawala na yung monthly. Yung deadline pala ng monthly VAT return is within 20 days after the end of the month. At yung quarterly VAT return is 25 days after the end of the quarter. So, wag muna natin masyadong discuss yan kasi wala pa naman tayo sa percentage tax, wala pa tayo sa value-added tax. Ito rin, wag muna. Okay, kasi sigurado nalilito na kayo. Okay. Sa VAT lang, additional info lang, cumulative yung VAT, cumulative when it comes to the quarterly. Okay, cumulative siya. Short period return, sahin nyo na lang yan, self-explanatory. Then, transition to value-added tax. This one, medyo medyo masisira na yung ulo niya dito kasi may computation na to Tapos meron pang nasaling income taxation. Okay, so Siguro we're going to, this one. We're going to ditch this one. Mahirap din to, especially merong hindi pa nag-take ng income tax sa inyo. Sa klase, sa ibang klase ko, I mean. Later na lang siguro to, i-insert natin ito kapag nasa value added tax na tayo. Kasi yung value added tax, napakaraming chapters na. Nag-input, output, mga ganun. Ayan, no? Meron pa siyang 8% commuted tax option. Bago to, di ba? This 8%, nagkaroon lang ng ganito nung train law. Yung mga nakapag-take ng income tax, alam nyo siguro yan. That 8% commuted tax option is in lieu of business and income tax. Next time na lang siguro ito kapag nasa VAT na tayo. Okay. Timing of VAT registration. Okay. Doon pa lang daw sa mga bagong businesses, kapag meron silang expectation na mag-exit sila ng VAT threshold, automatic VAT taxpayer na ang registration nila. Okay. However, kapag hindi sila nag-register as a VAT taxpayer, tapos nag-exit sila, dapat daw mag-register na sila as VAT taxpayer before the end of the month following the month the threshold is exceeded. For example, January, na-exit na nilang threshold. The following month, dapat makapag-register na sila as VAT taxpayers. Kapag franchise grantees naman, okay, dapat makapag-register sila ng 30 days from the end of the calendar year. For example, January pa lang, nag-exit na sila ng 10 million. So, dapat bago matapos yung January, the following year, makapag-register na sila, okay, as VAT taxpayer. Tapos, irrevocable ba ang registration niyan? Okay, tapos kapag yung mga optional naman na registration ng VAT, as VAT taxpayer, not later than 10 days before the beginning of a taxable quarter. Okay, then revocable ba ang VAT registration? The answer is yes, with the exception of franchise grantees of radio or television. Tapos, kapag optional ang registration, meron tayong 3 years na tinatawag na lock-in period. However, kapag yung new businesses natin, itong number 3, it will only apply to new businesses. Kapag nag-expect sila to exit the threshold, tapos hindi naman sila nakapag-exit ng threshold within 12 months operation, pwede na lang i-cancel yung VAT registration nila. The 3-year lock-in period will not apply. Okay. Penalty of VAT registrable persons, they are required to pay the output VAT without the benefit of input VAT. Okay, so yun lang. Okay, so that's for chapter 3.